Good day, parents. Welcome to the parent conference for primary school students. The table of contents we would like to discuss today is first teams, being proactive, taking notes, quizzes and tests, and read. Let's start off with teams. Please, parents, use your own profile on Teams. Don't use your child's profile. Why? Because sometimes a teacher would like to share private information with you as a parent. And then also, when a student does a quiz and is logged out for whatever reason, because it does happen sometimes, the parent immediately needs to request a message to the teacher to say, this is what happened. And you can't do it tonight or tomorrow. Because why? You have to invigilate. A parent needs to sit with the student to invigilate the test or the quiz. They can't do it by themselves. Then, the student to be online in academic hours on Teams. Because sometimes the teacher would like to say something to the student and they need to have the little green tick on Teams. So we need to see that they're online. A primary school student can't work on their own. They need support. They need the parent support because they can't function by themselves. Don't expect them to have a natural responsibility. Some students do have it and some just don't. So please don't expect them to have it. We want, if they're turning 13, we want them to be responsible, but it doesn't work. Or sometimes we think they're lazy, but it's not true. They just haven't been taught how to organize themselves. So please keep Teams on because that is the way we can communicate with you as parent and then also with the students. And how can we also keep the Teams profile separate is parents, please install Teams on your cell phone. So keep your profile on your cell phone if you are using the same computer than your child. Because with the new Teams, and I'm sure the best part of you are using the new Teams, there's a few new features, you can swap between profiles very quickly, but we don't want the parent's profile to be together with the student, because especially when they're getting a little bit older, they request stuff to be unblocked or they talk on behalf of the parent, and we as staff can see when the student is talking on behalf of a parent. And please don't do the work for them, especially the little ones. Doesn't matter if they make mistakes. We want them actually to make mistakes because this is how they learn. Now the big word that I realize is I feel so strong about is to be proactive. So what does proactive mean? Being proactive is like being a person who doesn't wait for problems to happen. Instead, they plan ahead and stop problems before it even starts. So you prevent a problem before it starts, thinking proactively. So what does it mean? We think ahead, that's all. And let's teach our children to think ahead. Don't wait for others to think for you. See the bigger picture and guide them. You need to guide them to think ahead. They're late and they don't have everything ready to go somewhere. If they have been proactive, it shouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened. If they think ahead before some action needs to be taken, then think smart. Almost like when you buy something big, you need to save money. And I usually say when you like to buy a pair of sneakers or something like that, that's a costly exercise. If you get pocket money or you get money somewhere or for birthdays, save it. That is thinking ahead, thinking smart. Plan and think ahead and be prepared. It's like being the captain of your own ship. And when it comes to the practical things, they have to stand at the steering wheel of their ship. The ship can either sink or he can sail smoothly. And the student should be at the steering wheel with your guidance. Again, they can't do it by themselves. You have to teach them to do that. We want at all times to avoid stress. Now they have to prepare for a test or a quiz, but now they haven't planned. So this morning they wake up and realize, oh dear, I've got a test or a quiz, so I didn't prepare. But if you planned ahead, if you think ahead, you could have avoided the stress. You study for the test, you can take a day or two and make sure they've got enough, especially when they're so small. Let them study and be prepared. Don't go into the test and guess the answers. Parents, it's all up to you. You're going to quiz the child, make sure they know the quiz or the work before. They don't know the quiz, but that they know the work and that they study from their notes. And question them before they do a quiz or a test or an exam. This is the responsibility of the parent or the facilitator. So at all times we want to avoid stress. They have to plan their schoolwork. This is the key for me to online schooling. Plan for the test and when to study. Avoid stress. But if you wake up in the morning and you realize, oh, I have to do a test and I didn't, you know what? No, try and help the child, guide the child. This is our planning chart, and we plan 2 weeks ahead. The R is for revision, P for project, and you can even plan to do nothing in a subject. So if we look at this one, for instance, on the Tuesday, the history was lesson 4, and they're also going to do revision because the next day they're going to do a quiz. If they did proper notes, what we're also going to discuss further, they can just do revision on the notes. They write the test and now there's a project that needs to be in. They can even start that project at the beginning of the week and do little bits every day, not realizing tomorrow I have to hand in a project and then again it causes stress. So this is, the children aren't born with this and you have to guide them. Look at this one, it was project, the project needs to hand it in. The next day there's perhaps nothing, you don't need to work, or you could do revision, just read through the work so that you just familiarize yourself with the work. And the next day, it's a lesson again. So yes, they can plan to do nothing because they're writing a quiz and they have to prepare and they do revision. So this is, if they see this up front, they're not stressed. And that is what we aim for. So the key to stay on track is having this document, this planning chart. Don't let them first drown. And then, because the work is too much, and then obviously communication is another key to online schooling. Be online, just what we've discussed about Teams. Plan to revise. Teach them to study and to memorize. Plan to do the project. And basically there's one project per unit, if at all. And that is not a lot, but if they start the beginning of, let's say when that unit is assigned, they will already see the project. Then also plan to do nothing. And they can work ahead, but try and stick to the plan. They will stay on track. Then, are they doing chores at home? This is part of life skills. You don't do them a favor by doing everything for them in the house. They must help with laying the table or cleaning up. And you should teach them to clean up before you even tell them to do so. And by keeping it tidy, and especially when you think of that chair in your room, you always fill that chair with clothes and everything. I don't know about you, but that does happen. And then it becomes messy, and then it takes a day to fix that and to sort out the room. So before it gets messy, rather tidy up. Let them see the bigger picture and to work in unity as a family to help each other. So please, you don't do them a favor by doing everything for them. Make a list of chores and that they can tick off that list if they've done it. It really helps them to plan ahead, to be proactive. Plan to save money. Teach them financial skills. Teach them to think ahead. They would like to do something in the holidays. They have to save up. Don't just give it to them. They have to save for that. Then, plan to be kind before someone asks you to. So if you drill something like this to be kind into them, they will do it automatically. Train them to speak to the teacher with respect. Go back to messages that you write and go back to messages that they write, because we will quite often tell them, will you please rephrase, especially if you just say, unblock my work. That's actually rude. And we will tell them, good morning, how can I help you? Yes, we've read what they said, but this is not the way you do it. And it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And remember the thank you and please. And you know what? You can do that and keep on and carry on with that forever until the day they leave the house. But don't let it slip by. Then, eating healthy for energy and to stay healthy. Let them at least try something new. Even if they don't like it, let them try it. Because that's the only way you learn to eat different foods. And tell them about how to live healthily and stay healthy. So, being proactive. Don't wait for things to happen or wait for someone to tell you what to do. Take charge. Don't just do it for your child. Think ahead before something is going to happen. Being smart, even doing work before it's due, that's actually super smart. And you know what? Compliment your child on those things. Getting things done before it becomes a big deal. Let's take an example. It's going to be cold tomorrow, but you didn't check the weather. Oops, it's raining. I didn't take a coat. So by taking the coat, because they say it's going to be cold, it's not necessarily always, but then you are prepared, then you are proactive. Going on holiday, for instance, filling up the car tonight, so tomorrow morning you can leave at 6. You don't need to leave at 5 to go and fill up the tank first. That is being prepared and being proactive, just little practical things. So be prepared and be alert. Now, let's talk about taking notes. I know a lot of you say, no, but my child's not taking notes and, it's a waste of time. Sorry, I beg to differ. They have to take notes because by writing something down, definitely not word by word. There's, by the way, a video of taking notes. They have to do revision from their notes. Why? Because they need to study the notes. Because it's a summary of what to study. So being proactive, taking notes. When you do an assignment, then you take the notes. It will save time. And it's only keywords, headings, and words that's in italics. Why do you have to take notes? It's a study tool, and it's for understanding. When you do it, you break the information in a lesson down to bite sizes in every lesson. After every assignment, you must have notes. Then, when will you use the notes? It's to study or to recap. when not to use the notes. You can't use it in a quiz or a test or an exam. You're not allowed to do that. They have to make the information their own, and you can't make the information your own. If it's in someone else's writing or typed work, you can't make it your own. Because we want to ask ourselves at the end of the day, did learning take place? Now, between grade 3 and 5, they can print their lesson and they can highlight it and they can draw circles. Because that note must be unique. It must be colorful. You can see mine is colorful because then it jumps out to me. So before they attempt a quiz or a test, they have to do revision. That was the R on the planning chart. Now, in the different subjects, the notes look a tiny little bit different. In maths, it's calculations, and it is formulas, and it's definitions. And I always say the things that they write in a block, that is also very important. So that is the notes for maths. The content subjects, which is your learning subjects, your history, geography, science, and Bible, those subjects you need facts. That is what they have to write down. Facts, events, people, timeline, and dates. Those are the important things for content subjects. When it comes to the languages, it's grammar rules, spelling. If they do spelling, let them write out the spelling words in their language notebook. If they spell something incorrectly, show them how to spell it. Show them the correct word. Let them write it out 3 to 5 times, because that's how you can remember the correct spelling. And then if they made mistakes in quizzes, they shouldn't make the same mistake in tests. So they have to go back immediately after they've done the quiz, check what was wrong, and go back to the lesson and find the correct answer. In languages, also vocabulary and the definition of words. And don't ever think that a word is too difficult for a child to remember. Now, how can we be proactive when you have to send in the notes to the teacher? And let's rather say, when do you have to send the notes to a teacher? If a quiz and a test is below 60%, they have to send the notes to the teacher. And being proactive is sending the notes before the teacher asks for it. So that the child will, or the teacher will say, show me your notes because you got below 60%. Now you wait for the notes. Then they make the notes and then they send it in. That is a waste of time. If they send the notes into the teacher and say, ma'am, I got less than 60% for my quiz. Here's my notes. The teacher will see it, and immediately the teacher can unblock the work. This will save time. This is being proactive in failing a quiz or a test, and that the teacher knows what's going on. Who unblocks the next assignment after notes have been sent? It's quicker if you've sent the notes than waiting for the teacher, because the teacher will unblock the notes. What do we block? So the quizzes in general remains unblocked. But if a quiz was failed, in other words, less than 70%, the system will block the next assignment. So the teacher will request the notes if they have less than 60%. What I'm saying is be proactive. Send in the notes already. Don't wait for the teacher, because she's going to ask for it. So what does it mean? They have to send in those notes for a quiz below 60% before the teacher asks for it. So when it comes to quizzes and tests, the parent needs to invigilate a quiz and a test. This is primary school. So the parent or facilitator can't sit opposite the child. They need to sit next to the child, because you don't know what they're doing. I promise you, they do interesting things. No notes can be available. Nobody may help in a quiz or a test. And they need to plan to write the quiz and test and review the work. Now let's save more time. Be proactive and study and pass. How easy is that? So if you are proactive in your studies and your notes, you are prepared to write your test and you will pass it. And then save time by sending the notes without the teacher asking for it. So when the teacher gives comments on work handed in, they have to read. Now we find these days, I'm not talking only about students, I'm talking about adults as well. They don't read and they don't read properly. I've seen it this week that you ask someone 3 questions and they give you an answer which doesn't answer any of the 3, and they think they've handled the situation. Adults in professional jobs. It doesn't work like that. So we have to train up our children to read properly and fix or answer what was asked. So teach your child to read properly. Set the example. They have to change and resubmit, not submit. What does that mean? Kids quite often, I've heard it this morning again, kids quite often will get a feedback from the teacher and they just submit the same thing. So after the second time, the teacher is going to give them 0, and then they don't understand, why did I get 0? Because, my dear, you have plagiarized or you didn't do what I said you should do, because they don't read. This is why we need to teach our children to read, change whatever needs to be changed, and submit them. So we as parents need to train ourselves up for that as well. Then we've got a virtual iStateford, an online iStateford. There's a link on the parents and the students' teams on the general tab at the top, the general channel at the top. There's a tab for iStateford, and it's all online. In other words, it's all pre-recorded work except for one thing, and that is the culinary cook-off. That is a live event. They're all on Teams, and the teachers can watch and everybody can watch them do whatever they need to do. Registration for this will take place between the 16th and the 20th of September. We will send the link for the registration. They can do music, drama, dancing, written work, photography, and videos, documentaries, life hack videos. There's a lot of things that they can participate in. They just have to follow the link. And then the entries only needs to be in between the 14th and 18th of October. But I would like you to look at it already and see what can they do. And because this is such an important factor for me, which helped me so much in life, the theme this year is being proactive. Doesn't matter what you do, let's see. Let's be proactive. And then holidays is coming up. Between the 20th of March and the 3rd of April, we've got our Easter holiday. The teachers are not available to mark or message. You can't message teachers as well because they are not available. They are available till the 20th of March, and then after that, the 3rd of April. So please plan accordingly. I'm going to say it again. The teachers are not available between 20th and 3rd of April. Thank you for listening.